Chapter 1. A bad day at work. Angel looked at his watch. It was after 9 o'clock. Where are you, Buffy? He thought. The bronze was busy tonight, but Angel sat alone. He looked at the young faces around him. People laughed and danced. This is Buffy's world, he thought. Why am I here? But he already knew the answer. He was there because he loved Buffy. With his dark eyes, he watched the door. Buffy was almost at the bronze. It was the end of October, 2 nights before Halloween. The evening was black and cold. Suddenly, something hit Buffy on the back of her head. She turned quickly. A vampire smiled at her, not a pretty smile. Buffy hit him hard. He got up quickly and laughed. He hit back. I haven't got time for this, Buffy thought. Angel is waiting for me. She pulled a stake from her jacket. Soon it was in the vampire's body. No more vampire. Look at me, she thought. Tonight is my first date with Angel. My clothes are dirty. My hair is terrible. This isn't a good start. She isn't coming, thought Angel. He wasn't happy. It's like I know, someone said to him. The bronze just isn't cool. Why did we come here? Angel looked up. Oh, hi, Cordelia, he said, and looked back at the door. I'm waiting for Buffy. Great, she said and sat down. She smiled and talked. She moved closer to Angel. Angel didn't want her there. But he was a nice vampire, so he smiled back at her. It was the wrong time for a smile. Buffy came in and saw them together. This is stupid, she thought. Look at Cordelia. She always looks fantastic, and I look terrible. She turned to the door. Angel saw Buffy across the room. Buffy? He ran to the club door. Oh, hi. Buffy said. I'm late, Angel finished. Bad day at work, Buffy said. I see, said Angel. He smiled. I love your hair, Buffy. Suddenly Cordelia was there. Very street fashion. How do you do it? She smiled at Buffy, then walked back to the table. Angel, said Buffy, I'm going to put a bag over my head. I can't stay here. Don't listen to Cordelia. You look great. You're very kind, she said, but she didn't believe him. We have a date, you know, laughed Angel. A date? She talked quietly and sadly. Other girls have dates, not me. I never think about my hair and my shoes. I don't have time. I think about vampires and stakes and blood. She left the club. Angel didn't follow her. Cordelia came back and smiled. Coffee? She asked. The next morning, Principal Snyder waited for the students at Sunnydale High. He had paper and pens. A girl walked into school. He grabbed her arm. Hey, she said. Put your name here, he told her. What is it? She asked. Tomorrow is Halloween, and the children of Sunnydale are going trick-or-treating. They need some teenagers with them. That's you. Put your name here. Can I say no? No. The girl wrote her name angrily and went off. Did you see that? Banda asked Buffy and Willow. Yeah, let's walk faster, said Buffy. Ah, Miss Summers. There was a hand on her arm. Sunnydale's worst student, he smiled. Put your name here. Oh, I love children, Principal Snyder, but I'm sorry. There's something wrong with my, hands. My doctor says... Principal Snyder gave her a pen. Then he gave 2 more pens to Willow and Xander. Right. The trick-or-treaters leave here at 4 o'clock. They must be home at 6. Don't forget your costumes. I don't believe it, said Xander. It's Halloween, party night, and we're going to have lots of small children with us, and we're going to be in stupid costumes. I wanted a night at home, said Buffy. It's the only quiet night in the year for me. Halloween is quiet. Xander was surprised. Isn't it party night for vampires? No, they stay at home, Giles told me. I love those vampires, said Xander. So usually I can stay in too, but now I can't. Thanks, Snyder. Chapter 2. A Long Red Dress. At morning break, Buffy and Willow got drinks. How was your date last night? Asked Willow. Bad, said Buffy. I met a vampire on the way to the Bronze, so I was late. And I looked terrible. Was Angel angry? No, but only because of Cordelia. She does dates, not me. Cordelia? Angel doesn't like Cordelia. Willow, what does he like? Who is he? I met him a year ago, but I know almost nothing about him. Yeah, well, I don't have any answers, said Willow. Then Buffy had an idea. She grabbed Willow. The Watcher Diaries. Yeah, said Willow slowly. And they're Giles's books. In Giles's desk. And Giles is a teacher. You're right, said Buffy with a smile. We mustn't take things from Giles's desk. It's wrong. Buffy and Willow looked through the doors of the library. Giles wasn't there. Willow stayed at the door and Buffy went in. Buffy walked very quietly to Giles's desk. Buffy, said Giles. Good. Oh. She turned in surprise. Nothing. Hi. What? Giles looked at her. Was she a bit strange today? Now, about tomorrow night. Halloween is always quiet. Maybe we can try some new kicks. Giles. Buffy stopped him. Don't you just have fun sometimes? I have lots of fun hobbies, said Giles, and opened a book. Buffy looked at the door, at Willow. Her eyes said, Come in, get the Watcher Diaries. Giles isn't looking. Willow's mouth said, No. Buffy's eyes said, Now. Willow walked across the room behind Giles. What hobbies? Asked Buffy. Well, Giles started, sometimes I clean my books. I enjoy that. One day, leave your books for an hour or two, Giles. There's a world out there. There's this cool place. You go in and sit down in the dark. There are pictures on the wall. They move. They tell a story. Very funny, haha, said Giles. Willow and the Watcher Diaries were back at the door. Okay, Giles, I gotta go. Bye. She ran from the room. Buffy and Willow sat in the girls' room. They read the Watcher Diaries. Wow, said Buffy. Look at her. There was a picture of a beautiful woman in a long dress. Who is she? Asked Willow. It doesn't say. But look, it says 1775 here. Angel was 18 then. She looks very rich, said Willow. Buffy thought about Angel in 1775. He was young then, and a man, not a vampire. She knew him in the best part of his life. Lucky woman, she said. No, said Willow. Life was terrible for women then. The girls' room door opened. Well, Buffy, you left poor Angel alone last night. It was Cordelia. He's so nice. But what's his story? I never see him around. Not during the day, said Willow. Cordelia looked at Willow. He's a vampire. Didn't you know? A nice vampire. I don't believe you. You can't keep me away from Angel with stupid stories like that. Maybe you're the vampire slayer, Buffy, but I'm the manslayer around here. It's so busy in here. You can't move, shouted Buffy to Willow. They were in Ethan's costume shop. Most of Sunnydale's children were there too. But it's better than Party Town, Willow shouted back. Ethan's was new. I've got a ghost costume. And I'm getting some soldier clothes and a gun, said Xander. Halloween isn't my... Buffy stopped. Hey, look at that. Willow and Xander followed Buffy to the back of the shop. There they saw a long red dress. It's the dress in the Watcher Diaries, said Buffy. From 1870-something. 1775, said Willow. She remembered these things. I want it, said Buffy quietly. Suddenly there was a man next to them. It was Ethan Rayne, and this was his shop. Please, he said to Buffy. He took the dress and put it against her. Ah, beautiful. The dress changed Buffy from a pretty girl into a very beautiful woman. Wow, thought Buffy. Wow, said Willow and Xander together. Buffy woke up. I'm sorry, she said. It's too expensive. No, said Ethan. Forget the money, you must have it. It's so right for you. Great, thanks, said Buffy. Ethan Rayne smiled. The old building was empty. No one lived or worked there now. It wasn't a nice part of town, so the vampires liked it. Spike walked up and down. Buffy, he thought. Buffy must die. Drusilla needs more blood, but that Slayer makes it so difficult. Spike, someone said quietly. He turned. His angry face was suddenly kind. It was Drusilla. Do you love me? She asked. Come here, my beautiful one, he said. He put his arms around her weak body. Buffy's going to die soon, my love, he said. Then you can drink all the blood in Sunnydale, and you can be strong again. Something is going to happen, I can see it. Buffy is going to be weak. What do you mean? Are there pictures in your head? Drusilla closed her eyes. Come on, my love. Talk to Spike, he said. What's going to happen to the Slayer? When? Tomorrow, answered Drusilla. But tomorrow is Halloween. Nothing happens on Halloween. This Halloween is different. Someone new is in town. Chapter 3. The fun starts. Ethan's costume shop closed for the night, but Ethan stayed in the shop. He was in the back room in long black clothes. In front of him there was a statue with the face of a beautiful woman. He put his hands together. Soon there was blood on them. Lots of blood. He said something to the statue in an old dead language. Janus, he cried, I am your son. He walked around to the back of the statue. Here it had another face, but this one wasn't beautiful. It was evil. School finished early on Halloween. Soon Buffy was in her costume in her bedroom. I'm the woman in the Watcher Diaries, she thought. Where are you meeting Angel? Shouted Willow. She was in the bathroom. Here, when the trick-or-treaters go home. Mum's out this evening. Does he know about your costume? No, he doesn't. It's going to be a big surprise. Now, come out, Willow. Okay, but don't laugh. Buffy didn't laugh. Willow looked fantastic in one of Buffy's tops and a very short skirt. Wow, said Buffy. Forget Cordelia. Meet Willow, the new manslayer. But this isn't me. Willow wasn't very happy. It's Halloween, Willow. You can be a different person at Halloween, a new you. It's just for one night. Someone was at the door. Xander's here. Are you ready? Yeah, okay, said Willow. Buffy ran down and opened the door. Xander pointed his gun at her. Buffy, you are so beautiful. But look at Willow, said Buffy, and they turned. She's... Oh. Willow was in her costume from Ethan's, a ghost. Let's get our little monsters, said Xander. They were at Sunnydale High. There were young children in costumes everywhere. Principal Snyder saw them. He came over to Buffy. 5 little people with green faces and black teeth followed him. Here's your group, Summers, he said. He didn't smile. Just bring them all back here at 6 o'clock. Children ran from house to house on the streets of Sunnydale. They shouted and laughed. People answered their doors and looked frightened. Soon it was nearly 6, and Buffy's group were tired. Some of them didn't like the dark. Josh, she said to them, 1 more house and then we're going back to school. The children ran to another house. I'm enjoying this, she thought. It's fun. Back at the costume shop, Ethan was ready for his Halloween fun. Janus, he said to the statue, this night is yours. Buffy was suddenly very cold. In the next road, Mrs. Parker came to her front door. Willow's group waited. Trick or treat, they shouted. Oh, Mrs. Parker put her hands up. I'm so frightened. Then she smiled. What lovely children. Ethan took the statue in his hands. Buffy started to feel a cold wind around her. A strange green light came from the statue. Ethan smiled. Now the fun can start. Mrs. Parker looked at the trick-or-treaters. Well, Mr. Monster, she said to the nearest child, what can I... Ugh. A green hand grabbed her neck. The child monster wasn't a child now. It was a monster, strong and evil. What are you doing? Stop that, cried Willow. Mrs. Parker pulled the monster's hand off her neck. She ran into the house and closed the door quickly. Willow suddenly didn't feel right. Her eyes closed. I'm falling, she thought. Then her body was on the floor. She was dead. Xander wasn't far away. He started to feel strange too. Then he was okay. But he was different. He wasn't Xander in a soldier costume. He was a soldier. He was tall and strong. His eyes were cold and he had a gun. Willow sat up. What happened? She walked a little. Then she turned. Oh. Her body in its ghost costume was still there. She looked at her clothes. Short skirt, short top. Willow the manslayer. Oh no, I'm a ghost. I'm Willow's ghost. She looked down the street. There were frightened children and little monsters everywhere. Then she heard a gun. Xander. She ran to him. He turned with his gun on her. He looked like Xander, but something was different. It's me, Willow. I don't know a Willow. He grabbed her arm, but his hand went through her body. Hey, what are you? Xander, listen to me. We're friends. Something terrible is happening. I was in a ghost costume, and now I am a ghost. You were in a soldier costume, and now you are a soldier. I don't believe you. A little vampire ran from a house. Xander pointed his gun at it. No, cried Willow. There's a little child in there. No guns, okay? And then she saw Buffy. Buffy, are you all right? The little vampire came back. It had a big monster with it this time. They moved nearer. Buffy, what do we do? Asked Willow. Buffy looked at the monsters with frightened eyes. And then she started to fall. Chapter 4. Who's Buffy? Willow looked at Buffy's body on the floor. She didn't believe her eyes. Buffy, are you okay? What? Who is Buffy? Said Buffy. She's not Buffy, Willow said to Xander. Who's Buffy? Asked Xander. Oh, this is fun, said Willow, and then to Buffy. What year is this? Buffy thought. 1775, I believe. I don't understand. Who are you? We're friends. Here, take my hand. Your clothes, everything is strange, said Buffy. How did I come here? Willow looked at Xander. What's going to happen to us without the Slayer? She said. What's a Slayer? Asked Xander. Suddenly, a monster kicked Buffy from behind. This new Buffy didn't kick back. She just screamed. Xander hit the monster with his gun, and it ran off. Let's go into a house, said Xander. Monster, cried Buffy. A monster! Willow and Xander turned. They were ready. But there wasn't a monster. There was only a car. It's a car, said Willow. What does it want? Said Buffy. What's wrong with this woman? Asked Xander. She's from 1775. They didn't have cars then, said Willow. Let's go. Buffy's house is near here. Buffy and Xander followed Willow. They went into Buffy's kitchen through the back door. Xander closed the door and watched at the window. We're okay. For now. Bang, bang, bang. The front door, quick! Xander and Willow ran through the house. Don't open it, said Willow. There are vampires out there. The sound stopped. Willow and Xander stopped too and waited. Buffy came into the room and looked at a photo of a young woman. This is just like me, she said. It is you, said Willow. Buffy, can't you remember anything? No, I don't understand. I don't wear these. Are they clothes? I don't like this place. I don't like you. Where is my home? Just then, a green hand came through the window. It grabbed Xander's arm, but he hit it with his gun. The thing ran away. Now there was a different scream. It wasn't Buffy this time. Xander opened the front door and ran out. Hey, stop! Called Willow. Xander came back. He pulled a woman in a cat costume into the house. She was dirty and there was blood on her arms. It was Cordelia. What's happening? She cried. Cordelia, said Willow. Okay, now listen. Your name is Cordelia. You're not a cat. You're at high school and we're your friends. Well, that's nice, Willow, Cordelia said. But I'm not stupid. Do you know us? Oh, that's fantastic, said Willow. Yeah, said Cordelia. You're a bit strange today, but look at my costume. Party Town isn't going to like this. Okay, said Willow. Cordelia, you stay here with Xander and Buffy. I'm going to see Giles. Willow didn't see Spike in the street. He was under a tree in his long black coat. His vampire face was evil. He looked around him and smiled. Well, he said, this is great. Xander and Buffy watched the streets from the front door. They were okay, for now. Cordelia watched from a bedroom window. Oh, good, said someone behind them. You're all right. They turned. It was Angel. It's evil out there. Who are you? They asked. Said Angel, what's happening here? He looked at Buffy's dress. He remembered something. Someone from long ago. Do you live here? Asked Xander. No, you know that. Buffy. This was Buffy, but not Buffy. "What's up with your hair, Buffy? You look different," he said. "They don't know you, Angel." It was Cordelia, and everyone in the street's a monster. Then she remembered her smile. "So, Angel, how are you?" Someone turned off the lights. Buffy screamed and grabbed Cordelia. "Hey," said Cordelia, "keep your hands off me." Xander turned to Angel. "Take the girl to the kitchen. Watch the door. Catwoman, stay here with me." In the kitchen, the back door was open. "I closed that," said Angel. He moved quietly to the door. Buffy stayed by the wall. She didn't see the vampire. "Be careful," cried Angel. He grabbed the vampire and kicked it into the dining room. "Get a steak!" Angel shouted to Buffy. He turned to her. She saw Angel's face and screamed. It was his vampire face, angry and terrible. She ran out of the house. "Buffy, no!" shouted Angel. The other vampire hit Angel hard. There were a lot of books in front of Giles and Willow. "This isn't helping," Willow said. "What are we looking for?" "Okay," said Giles. "Let's think." At 6 o'clock, everyone changed. "Right. So now Xander's a soldier, and Buffy's a girl from 1775. Giles looked at Willow. "And you are?" "I'm a ghost," said Willow. Giles smiled and looked at her short skirt and top. "A ghost of—" Willow went red. "You didn't see Cordelia. She has cat ears and—" "So Cordelia is now a cat?" Willow looked at Giles. "Wait a minute," she said slowly. "Cordelia isn't a cat. She's the same old Cordelia, in a cat costume. She didn't change then." "No," Willow thought for a minute. "I know. Party Town. That's it. Her costume came from Party Town." "And you, Buffy Xander? Where?" "We went to this new place," Willow said. "Ethan's." "Come on," said Giles. "Quick." Chapter 5. I'm home. "Hello," Giles called. "Is anyone in?" The shop was dark. Willow saw an open door at the back. There was a statue in the room. It had an evil face with green eyes. "What does it mean?" she asked. "It's Janus," said Giles. "From an old world. Janus has two faces, man and woman, good and evil." "Milk and dark?" Ethan was just behind them. Willow and Giles turned quickly. "Oh no, sorry, that's chocolate." Ethan smiled at Giles. "Willow," Giles said. He didn't look at her. "Go to Buffy. Now." "But now, Willow." She turned and ran. "Hello, Ethan." "Hello, Rupert, my old friend," Ethan answered. "This is nice." Giles didn't smile. "I was stupid. I didn't think of you. But of course this Halloween thing is your idea. It's just like all your other plans." "Yes," Ethan said. "All my plans are clever." "Not clever, Ethan. Evil." "Well, Rupert, you know all about evil, of course." He laughed. "But maybe they don't know about you here." Giles changed. No one in Sunnydale knew this Giles. "Stop your evil, Ethan. Then leave this place. Never come here again." I'm frightened." Giles hit him. Ethan went down hard onto the floor. There was blood on his mouth. Angel's vampire face changed, and he looked like a man again. He found Xander and Cordelia, and they ran into the road. "Buffy, Buffy, where are you?" Angel called. "Let's go this way," said Xander. "She needs help, now," Angel said. "I know it." "Buffy's always okay," said Cordelia. "But this isn't Buffy." Spike watched them. He had 2 small vampires with him. Did you hear that, my friends? Drusilla was right. Tonight Buffy is weak. Come on, we must find her first, then we can drink that lovely blood. Buffy was alone on a dark street in the bad part of town. She was very frightened. She ran into someone. He was big and dirty with bad teeth. Pretty, he said and grabbed Buffy. He said. Nice. No, cried Buffy. Xander suddenly arrived. Hey! He shouted and pulled the man off Buffy. Buffy screamed and ran right into Cordelia. Then Buffy saw Angel. She screamed again and grabbed Cordelia. What's up with you? Cordelia cried. That man, your friend. He's a vampire, she screamed. Cordelia smiled at Angel. She thinks, oh, forget it. Then she turned to Buffy. It's okay. Angel is a friend. He likes us. Hey! They all turned. It was Willow. We got to get out of the road, she said. This way. Angel ran to an old building. The others followed him into the building and closed the door. But Spike was just behind them, with a lot of little vampires. They kicked the door and it opened. Spike came into the building. He smiled at his little helpers. Ethan had lots of blood on his face, but he smiled too. How do I stop this evil? Giles asked. He cleaned the blood from his hands. Ethan laughed. Say please. Giles kicked him. Okay. Break Janus, said Ethan. But break the statue. Vampires pulled Angel and Xander away. Spike turned to Buffy. My little one, he said. Frightened, alone. No one can help you now. He smiled kindly. Then he hit her across the face. I'm enjoying this, he laughed. Buffy, Angel cried, but the vampires pulled him harder. Spike grabbed Buffy's head with one hand. He had her arm in the other. His long white teeth came close to her beautiful neck. Hi, she said to Spike. I'm home. Spike didn't look happy now. Buffy was the vampire slayer again, and she was very angry. She kicked him and hit him, then she kicked him again. Do you know something? She said. I'm enjoying this. Spike hit the floor hard and didn't move again. Hey, Buff, said Xander. We're back. Do you remember anything? Asked Cordelia. Yeah, said Xander, and it was like, I'm here. I can hear you, but I can't get out. It was strange. Are you okay? Angel asked Buffy quietly. Buffy looked into his dark eyes. She loved those eyes. Yeah, she smiled. He took her arm and they went out. Hey, said Xander. Where's Willow? What happened? Asked Willow. She was at Mrs. Parker's house in her ghost costume. Well, I'm in my own body again, she thought. That feels better? Buffy was in Buffy clothes with Buffy hair again. She was at home with Angel. She sat down next to him. I like this Buffy, he said. I hated the girls in the old days. Did you? They were boring. I want someone exciting. He moved closer. Interesting. Oh, yeah. Strong. Then he took her in his arms, and Buffy smiled. This feels right, she thought. The next day, Giles was in Ethan's empty shop. He walked around slowly. Suddenly, he saw some paper. There were words on it. See you soon, he read. Giles looked up. His eyes were hard and cold. Chapter 1. Another lovely day. Suddenly he was awake. He could see the light through the curtains. Tina was still sleeping beside him. That was strange. They always woke up together. He looked at his watch. 6:30. He tried to think. Yes, they always woke up at exactly 8 o'clock. He couldn't remember waking up before 8. Not ever. Why not? Everybody in the city woke up at exactly 8 o'clock. Every day. He got out of bed quietly. Tina didn't move. He walked to the window and opened the curtains. He looked out at the quiet city. Nothing was moving. Then he dressed quickly and went to the chair and sat down. He had to think. He had to remember. He was still sitting there an hour and a half later when Tina opened her eyes. "Dan," she said. "Dan, what are you doing?" "I got up early," he said. Early. It sounded strange. But why did it sound strange? "Dan, is anything wrong?" "Wrong? No, nothing's wrong. I just wanted to get up, that's all." Tina dressed. She smiled brightly. "It's time for breakfast," she said. "Come on, we mustn't be late." What? He was going to say, "Why not?" But he didn't. He stood up. Yes, it's time for breakfast. Look, you go down for breakfast. I'm not hungry today. I'll see you later. Tina looked at him. "We have to go to breakfast. Are you feeling ill? I'll call the doctor." The doctor, yes. He had to go to breakfast. He didn't want to see the doctor. Tina was standing by the door. She looked annoyed. "Tina," he said, "I didn't eat anything yesterday or the day before, and I feel different." Tina moved towards the phone. "Of course you feel different, Dan. You are ill. I'll get the doctor." "Don't phone, Tina. Well, please," he said. "I wanted to feel hungry. I haven't felt hungry for a long time. I wanted to remember the feeling." She looked worried. "I don't understand," she said. "Nobody wants to feel hungry. That's it. Nobody wants to feel hungry. Nobody wants to feel unhappy. Nobody wants to feel anything. Yesterday and the day before, I didn't eat. Nobody noticed. I threw the food away. And now I'm beginning to remember things. I think there's something in the food. A drug. Because of the drug, we can't remember things." Tina's face was red. "You're crazy," she said quietly. "Maybe," he said, "but why can't we remember anything? What is this place?" "It's our home," she said slowly. "Our home. When did we come here?" I don't know, Dan. Is it important? Where were we before we came here?" He shook her arm angrily. "Why did we come here?" We, Oh, Dan, I can't remember. Don't worry about it. Look, don't be silly. We're going to be very busy today. First, there's the pottery class. You'll be able to finish making that bowl. Then we're going to go swimming, then lunch. Then we can lie beside the swimming pool before tennis. Then there's dinner. Then we can watch the new videos in the video room, have a drink and go to bed. We'll be exhausted. Exhausted? At 8 o'clock? Well, yes. That's bedtime. We need 12 hours sleep a night. Everybody says that. Tina, how long have we been here? I don't know, Dan. We call this place home. Don't you remember? We used to call it a holiday. We used to call this our hotel room. Now we call it home. I don't remember that. That's stupid. No, it isn't, Tina. I remembered this morning when I woke up early. Perhaps you didn't wake up, Dan. Perhaps you had a dream. A strange dream, that's all. But I did wake up, Tina. You saw me. I was sitting in that chair with all my clothes on. I'm not sure. Were you? I can't remember now. She smiled at him. Come on, the sun's shining. It's another beautiful day. Let's go and have breakfast. She opened the door. Dan looked at her for a moment. You've forgotten our conversation, haven't you? He said. You've forgotten it already. Chapter 2. I love breakfast. Dan followed her into the corridor. He looked at the rows of doors on both sides. They were all the same. They walked along to the lift. Tina pushed the button and the doors opened. Morning, Tina. Morning, Dan. Russell, the sports organizer, was already in the lift. He smiled. I hope you're both ready for the tennis match, he said. We're playing level 14 this afternoon. They've got some good players. Tina laughed. Level 5. Level 5, she sang. Level 5 is really alive. It was their team song. The lift, the long line of people. They were all waiting for breakfast. Dan looked around. Everyone was wearing shorts and t-shirts, the men and the women. Dan looked down at his t-shirt. It was light blue, the level 5 colour. His shorts were light blue too. There were different colours for all the levels. The man in front of him was wearing a yellow level 9 t-shirt. Oh, good, said Tina. Cornflakes. I love cornflakes. So do I, said Russell. Dan smiled. Everyday breakfast was cornflakes with thin milk. Every day Tina seemed pleased with it. She always seemed pleased with lunch too. And dinner. Everybody seemed pleased. He thought about the food. Lunch was usually soup and some bread. Dinner was usually soup and some kind of rice. They sometimes had a little meat or fish, but not often. But they were never hungry. Dan took a tray, a bowl of cornflakes, and a vitamin drink. He followed Tina and Russell towards the tables. The restaurant had big windows, and through them you could see the large swimming pool. The families with children all lived on the other side of the pool. On this side there were only people without children. Dan stopped and thought, and none of us ever have children. And the youngest children on the other side are 10 or 11 years old. They used to be younger. He could remember babies. So no children are born here. And the youngest children are 10 or 11. Dan waited for a moment. He put his tray down on an empty table. It was difficult. Thinking was difficult. So, maybe that's how long we've been here. 10 or 11 years. He felt pleased with himself. He looked around quickly. Nobody was watching him. He picked up his tray again and walked over to the waste disposal unit. Quickly he threw the food and drink away. He looked around again. No, nobody saw him. He started to walk to Tina's table. And there are no sick people, he thought. They take them to a hospital somewhere. Nobody else leaves. Never. He stopped. There was Jack. Jack went to hospital. But when? He walked over to Jack's table. Jack, good morning, he said. Good morning, Dan. Lovely day, isn't it? How's your leg, Jack? Is it better? Jack looked surprised. My leg? There's nothing wrong with my leg. Don't you remember, Jack? You hurt your leg. You cut it by the swimming pool. I was with you. You fell on a bottle and it broke and cut you badly. They took you to hospital. You went in a helicopter. Jack stopped eating. He looked worried for a moment. Then he laughed. I've never been to hospital in my life, he said. And I've never been in a helicopter. Is this a joke? Dan looked down. Jack was wearing green level 11 shorts. He could see the long red scar on Jack's leg. He looked at Jack again. Jack was smiling. Dan, Are you all right? It was Russell. He was standing behind him. I was just talking to Jack about his leg. He cut his leg when we were at the swimming pool. Look, there's the scar. You remember Russell? He fell on a bottle. You carried him to the helicopter. Russell wasn't smiling. Dan, can you come to my office after breakfast? I want to talk to you. Dan looked at Russell carefully. Russell was the sports organizer for Level 5. There were a lot of organizers. They all lived on the highest level of the building, Level 20. There were organizers for sports, pottery, yoga, music, everything. No, I can't come to your office, Russell. I'm busy. Russell looked surprised. Busy? What do you mean? Dan turned and walked quickly out of the restaurant. He walked to the lifts. He got to the lifts, pushed the button, and the door opened immediately. Dan stepped in. Russell was hurrying along the corridor towards him. Dan pushed a button and the doors closed. Dan looked at the buttons. There were 20 levels. He pushed number 20. Chapter 3. The 20th level. Sunny Vista City was built on both sides of a deep valley. The swimming pools and sports areas were at the bottom of the valley. The rooms were against the sides of the valley. At both ends of the valley were the offices for the organizers. The city was about 2 kilometers long. Helicopters flew into the city every day. They always landed on the roof of the 20th level. The lift stopped. Dan walked out. The corridor was empty. The rooms were bigger here. There was a bigger distance between the doors. Then he heard a noise. It was a bell. The door of the next lift was opening. Dan stepped back. Russell was coming out of the lift door. Dan, said Russell, what are you doing? This is level 20. You shouldn't be here. Why not? Said Dan. And why are you following me? I must speak to you, said Russell. It's important. Dan looked at Russell. Russell was looking at the wall next to the lift. There was a red button on the wall. Russell was moving towards the button. Dan stepped between Russell and the button. Okay, said Dan. Where shall we talk? Russell looked worried. We can go to my office. We can talk there. Dan thought for a moment. Russell was bigger than Dan and stronger too. Dan thought about the sports in Sunny Vista City. Nobody tried to win. Not ever. Why not? He could remember the day before when he played tennis against Russell. Dan tried to win. He wanted to win. Russell was surprised then. Dan smiled. Come on, let's go to your office. I mustn't be late for the pottery class. I'm making a bowl, a soup bowl. Have you seen it? Russell smiled. No, I haven't. You can show me later. Dan stepped into the lift, and Russell followed him. Russell turned to the row of buttons next to the door. Level 1, he said to himself and moved his hand towards the button. Dan hit him once, hard on the back of the head. Russell fell to the floor. I knocked him out, thought Dan. I hit him once and knocked him out. Where did I learn that? There were never fights in Sunny Vista City. Nobody was ever angry. Dan looked at the buttons. He pushed the button for level 10. There was nobody on level 10 at this time of the morning. He stepped quickly through the door before it closed. Chapter 4. On the roof. Dan walked along the corridor. There were some stairs at the end. He ran up the stairs. There was a door at the top. He pushed the door and it opened. It wasn't locked. He went through the door and he was on the roof. He looked around. A large helicopter was standing on the roof. Dan stopped and looked at it for a moment. The helicopter was a Westing Type 23. He thought for a moment. The Westing Type 23 had 20 seats, 2 engines, and it could fly at 300 kilometers an hour. But how did he know that? He tried to remember. Of course, he used to work at a helicopter factory. He used to make Westing helicopters. He used to work. But when was that? And where? Why did he stop working? And why did he come to sunny Vista City? Dan walked across the roof. It was very wide. He walked to the side and looked over the wall at sunny Vista City. Then he walked across to the other side and looked over that wall. He shook his head. There was another valley with more buildings. It looked exactly the same as sunny Vista City. There was a door on the other side with a notice on it. Sortie. He tried to think. Sortie! It was French. It meant exit. But when did he learn French? He turned and ran over to the helicopter. The door was open. There were a lot of boxes inside. They were empty. Dan climbed in and hid behind the boxes. There was writing on the boxes. One said Sunny Vista City, another said Club du Soleil, a third said Playa del Sol. He thought about the writing, English, French, and Spanish. He looked at some more boxes. Some were German, some were Italian. One was Portuguese. He sat there for about 10 minutes. Then he heard voices. The door closed. 2 men got into the front of the helicopter. Dan listened. Well, that's it. We've delivered everything to the English and French sections. Yes, we can do the German and Italian sections this afternoon. Chapter 5. Dan remembers more. The engines started and he couldn't hear anything else. The helicopter took off and climbed slowly into the sky. Dan moved quietly to the window and looked down. He could see more valleys like Sunny Vista City, then more and more. They flew over the valleys for half an hour. Then Dan could see fields and trees and farms. In the distance he could see a town with factories and smoke. The helicopter began to go down. Dan hid behind the boxes again. The helicopter landed and the door opened. Some men began to move the boxes. Dan stood up. Hello, he said. Where are we? The men looked at each other. They didn't speak. Another man climbed into the helicopter. It's all right, he said to the men. It's just another one from the valleys. He looked at Dan. Why have you come here? I don't know. I started to remember things. I wanted to remember more, said Dan. You've come from Sunny Vista City, haven't you? Said the man. Yes, said Dan. I see. I think you should come with me. Dan followed the man out of the helicopter. My name's Travis, said the man. Come on, we'll go to my office. Dan looked around. They were at a small airport. He could see 9 or 10 helicopters, 2 large planes, and a lot of trucks. The helicopters were all Westing 23s. Men were putting boxes into them. There were fields around the airport and a small road going towards the town in the distance. Travis took Dan to a small building. They went inside. Travis led him into a small, untidy office. Dan looked around. In Sunny Vista City, everything was always in the right place. Nothing was untidy or dirty. Sit down, said Travis. Would you like something to drink? I've got tea or coffee. No, thank you, said Dan. Travis laughed. Don't worry, he said. There's nothing in it. I'm sure you're hungry and thirsty. That's why they're here. Look, don't worry. Sunny Vista City isn't a prison, you know. When the helicopter took off, the pilots knew there was somebody there. They knew because of the extra weight. Why didn't they take me back? Asked Dan. I've told you it isn't a prison. You got into the helicopter because you wanted to leave. That's okay. You've left. We didn't stop you. Dan looked at the table for a moment. There was a man, one of the sports organizers. His name's Russell. He wanted to stop me. I knocked him out. I left him in the lift and sent the lift down to level 10. I didn't want to hurt him. He's okay. You didn't hurt him badly. I spoke to him on the telephone a few minutes ago. What is Sunny Vista City? Asked Dan. What is it really? How much can you remember? Said Travis. I'm beginning to remember more and more. I can't remember everything yet. You'll remember more tomorrow, said Travis. Well, said Dan, I used to work in a helicopter factory in England, the Westing factory. This isn't England, is it? No, said Travis, it isn't. I lost my job, said Dan. The factory closed. I was unemployed for a long time. Then I saw an advertisement. It was on television, I think. It was for very cheap 30-day holidays for the unemployed. Very cheap. We left England and flew to Sunny Vista City. I can't remember much since then. But I remember something. I haven't seen or talked about money for years. Travis smiled. Sunny Vista City is one of the oldest towns here. It opened 10 years ago. You haven't seen money for 10 years. But what's happening? Said Dan. Can you remember 10 years ago? There were millions of unemployed people all over the world. There was very little work. Computers were doing everything. There was fighting in the streets, riots, revolutions, hunger. The governments all over the world had a meeting, a secret meeting. They built Sunny Vista City and hundreds of places like it. All of them are in warm, sunny places near the sea. They send unemployed people on holidays. They give everyone drugs in the food. There is no hunger, no fighting, no children in the cities. There is also no memory. Nobody can remember anything. Everyone lives for today. But that's terrible, said Dan. Is it? Is it really? Said Travis. Things were much worse before. Are you going to send me back there? Asked Dan. You can choose. We can give you a drug. You'll wake up tomorrow in Sunny Vista City and you won't remember anything about this. You said I can choose, said Dan. Yes, you can stay here. You can go back to England. We'll find you a job. Life will be difficult. You'll have to work hard and... But I'll be free, said Dan. Yes, you will. A few people. Only 1 or 2%. Leave Sunny Vista City and the other cities every year. That isn't a problem. We can find jobs for those people. Most people are happy there. About half of the people that leave choose to go back. I don't believe it, said Dan. You will. Maybe next year you'll want to go back. It's an easy life. But what about now? Are you going back? Or are you staying here? Dan sat back in his seat and smiled. I think I'll stay here, he said. Chapter 1. The Sailing Ship. May was a beautiful month in the land of the Algonquin Indians. There were tall trees and colourful flowers everywhere. The sky and the sea were deep blue. Pocahontas was the favourite daughter of Chief Powhatan. She was an Indian princess. Chief Powhatan was a powerful chief of the Algonquin tribe. Pocahontas was 11 years old. She was a lovely young girl with black hair and dark eyes. She wore a buckskin dress and moccasins. She had a feather in her hair. Pocahontas was always happy. She ran in the forest and danced in the fields. She sat on the hill and looked at the blue sea. On May 6, 1607, Pocahontas sat on the hill and she saw something strange in the bay. It was a big sailing ship. She was very surprised. The sailing ship was something new. It had big white sails and flags. She looked at it for a long time. Where did it come from? Why was it there? She was very excited. Pocahontas ran to her village to tell her father and brother the news. "Father, father," she said, "there's a big sailing ship in the bay. It has white sails and coloured flags." Her father, Chief Powhatan, was outside his longhouse. He was a tall man with long black hair. He wore the feathers of an Indian chief on his head. He listened to the news, but he was not happy. "The white men are here," Powhatan said sadly. "This is bad news for our people. There is no peace with the white men here." Nantaquas was Pocahontas's brother. He was 18 years old. He was a strong Indian warrior. He looked at his sister and said, "In the past, the white people killed the Indians. They want to take our land." "Oh, Nantaquas, let's go to see the white people. Let's go to see their big ship," said Pocahontas. "You can go to see them, but don't go near the ship. Stay far away. Be careful," said Powhatan. "Remember, Pocahontas, white men are dangerous." Nantaquas and Pocahontas went to the river. There were many canoes near the river. They got into a small canoe. Then Nantaquas paddled down the river to the bay. In the bay they saw the big sailing ship. There was a tall white man on the ship. He smiled at them. There were other white men too. They all looked at the small canoe and at the two Indians. Pocahontas smiled at the white man. "Let's go to the ship," she said. "No," said Nantaquas. "It's dangerous. We don't know who these white men are. We can look and then go home. We must obey our father." The white man on the ship smiled again. "Look, Nantaquas," said Pocahontas. "That man has red hair and white skin. He's smiling at us. Look at his clothes. They are strange." Nantaquas turned the canoe and paddled up the river. When they arrived home, Nantaquas said, "I saw a big sailing ship. There were many white men on the ship." Powhatan talked to his medicine men and tribe advisors. They all sat inside the longhouse for a long time. He said, "White men bring us problems. They have a strange magic. They carry thundersticks to kill our people. They want to take our land, our lakes, our rivers, and our forests. They can stay for a short time, but they cannot stay here forever. Let's watch them and see what they do." Chapter 2. Pocahontas meets John Smith. Captain John Smith and his men were happy to be in Chesapeake Bay. They wanted to establish a small settlement there. Captain Smith called the big river the James River, after King James I of Britain. On May 13, 1607, he established the small settlement called Jamestown. Jamestown was on the James River. In Jamestown, the settlers built some huts, a storehouse, and a church. There were about 100 men in Jamestown in 1607. Most of them were English gentlemen. They came to the New World to find gold and riches. They did not want to be farmers. John Smith was angry with them. He said, "You must all plant crops, Hunt and fish. You must not be lazy. In Jamestown there was little food. One day, Captain Smith and his men went into the forest to look for food. They walked for a long time. Then they met a big group of Indians. The Indians attacked them with their bows and arrows. They killed one of Smith's men. John Smith and his men killed 2 Indians. Then the Indians captured John Smith and took him away. After a long walk, John Smith stood in front of Chief Powhatan and his tribe. Everyone was silent. Pocahontas stood next to her father. She looked at John Smith. He was very tall. She looked at his red hair, his blue eyes, and his white skin. He was very different from the Indian men. John Smith spoke to the Indians in sign language and a few Indian words. Great Chief, I am a friend. My men and I want to live in peace with you. Powhatan and his medicine men did not like him. John Smith gave a compass to the Great Chief. Powhatan looked at it. He turned it around in his hand. Why did the needle always point in the same direction? He tried to touch the needle, but a piece of ice was in front of it. The ice wasn't cold. It didn't melt. Powhatan thought it was magic. All the Indians of the tribe looked at the compass. They were surprised at the white man's magic. Pocahontas liked John Smith and his magic, but her father didn't like him. That afternoon, John Smith and his men killed 2 Indians. Chief Powhatan and his tribe were very angry. Now John Smith must die. 2 Indian warriors pushed Captain Smith to the ground. They put his head on a very big stone. Then the Indians picked up another big stone. They wanted to kill John Smith. When Pocahontas saw this, she said, "No, father. Please don't kill him. He isn't a bad man." Powhatan said, "No. He and his men killed 2 Indians. He must die." The 2 Indians were ready to kill Captain Smith. One Indian raised his hand. "No," said Pocahontas. She jumped forward and put her head above Captain Smith's head. "Please, father, he must not die. Save him," said Pocahontas. Powhatan looked at his favorite daughter. He immediately told the 2 Indians to stop. Everyone was surprised at Pocahontas's courage. Pocahontas saved John Smith's life. After this, Pocahontas and John Smith became great friends. John Smith taught her English and she taught him the Indian language. He gave her beautiful beads and trinkets. He told her about London and its enormous buildings. Pocahontas listened to Smith's stories. The King of England is called King James I. He lives in a beautiful palace in London, said John Smith. Is he your chief? Asked Pocahontas. Yes, he's our leader, said John Smith. What do the English ladies wear? Asked Pocahontas. They wear long, colourful dresses, shoes and hats. They also wear jewels. Are the English ladies beautiful? Pocahontas asked. Some are beautiful and some aren't, said John Smith. Pocahontas laughed and listened. She dreamed about London. Chapter 3. Winter in Jamestown. The hot summer passed and the cool autumn arrived. The Jamestown settlers had little food to eat. Many settlers were ill and weak. They needed help. When winter arrived, there was no food. Pocahontas helped the Jamestown settlers. She asked her father for corn, meat, and other food. Pocahontas and other Indians brought the food to Jamestown in big baskets. The courageous Indian princess helped the settlers to live during the cold winter. Ships came to Jamestown from England. Powhatan was not happy about this. More white men came to the New World. Powhatan was afraid of them. He was afraid of the future. One winter day, Powhatan sent an Indian messenger to Jamestown. He had a message for Captain Smith. "My chief Powhatan wants to speak to you. Follow me." John Smith followed the messenger to Powhatan's village. Powhatan was in his longhouse. John Smith sat next to him. "We have no more food to give to your people. You must all leave this land now," said Powhatan. "Why must we leave?" asked John Smith. The two men talked for a long time. At midnight, Powhatan said, "It is very late. You can sleep in the small cabin near the river." Captain Smith accepted the invitation. He went to sleep in the small cabin. During the night, John Smith heard someone at the door. He got up, opened the door, and saw Pocahontas. "What a surprise to see you, Pocahontas. Please come in." "Oh, Captain Smith, your life is in danger. My father and the medicine men want to kill you tonight. They don't want white people to stay here. You must run away now. Dear princess, you are saving my life again. How can I thank you? What can I give you?" asked Captain Smith. "Run away now? Save yourself." Pocahontas touched his hand and ran away. John Smith ran out of the cabin. He walked to Jamestown in the middle of the night. When he arrived in Jamestown, he told the settlers that Pocahontas saved his life again. After this adventure, Captain Smith returned to England. In Pocahontas' village, everyone thought that Captain Smith was dead. Everyone said that he was killed by a gunpowder explosion. Chapter 4. Chief Powhatan declares war. More and more white settlers came to Jamestown. Jamestown was part of the Virginia colony. Chief Powhatan was angry. He declared war on the little colony. There was a lot of fighting. Pocahontas was 17 years old. Powhatan wanted to protect his favorite daughter. He sent her to live with the Potomac tribe. The Potomac Indians were friends of the white people. Pocahontas was safe with them. Powhatan said to Pocahontas, "You must stay with the Potomac Indians. You must not go to Jamestown. We are at war with Jamestown." "Yes, father." Pocahontas liked her life with the Potomacs. Chief Japazaws was the head of the Potomac tribe. His wife was Pocahontas's friend. Chief Japazaws and his wife were friends of Captain Samuel Argali. Captain Argali was an English explorer. He lived in Jamestown. One day, Captain Argali went to visit Chief Japazaws. When he saw Pocahontas, he said to the chief, "Come to see my ship. I want to show you a lot of interesting things. We can eat on the ship." "You are very kind," said Pocahontas. "I want to see an English ship." Chief Japazaws and his wife wanted to see the ship too. Captain Argali took Pocahontas, Chief Japazaws and his wife to the big sailing ship. They looked around the big ship. They saw the tall masts and the white sails. Then they ate delicious food. Pocahontas was very happy and said, "Thank you for a wonderful day, Captain Argali." At sunset, Chief Japazaws and his wife left the ship in a canoe. But Pocahontas did not leave. She was Captain Argali's prisoner. He tricked her. "Why can't I go with my friends?" asked Pocahontas. She looked at the canoe and saw her friends. Chief Japazor's wife had a new copper kettle and a basket full of coloured beads. Chief Japazors and his wife helped Captain Argali capture Pocahontas. The copper kettle and the coloured beads were their payment. Pocahontas cried. She had no true friends. She asked, "What is happening? Why am I a prisoner?" Captain Argali said, "I don't want to hurt you, Pocahontas. I want to take you to Jamestown and keep you there. When your father returns the weapons he took from us, I can free you. Then you can return home. Your father loves you. He must return the weapons." Pocahontas was a prisoner, but she was not afraid of Captain Argali. She was not afraid of the white people. Captain Argali took her to Jamestown. Everyone in Jamestown liked Pocahontas. They remembered that she saved Captain Smith's life twice. They also remembered that she brought them food during the long winter. Everyone in Jamestown was kind and friendly. The women gave her English clothes to wear. Pocahontas was a beautiful young woman. She learned English manners and customs. She made many friends. Pocahontas became a Christian and her Christian name was Rebecca. Powhatan did not return the weapons. He sent some corn and some broken weapons. The war continued. Captain Argali was furious because his plan did not work. He kept Pocahontas in Jamestown. She was his prisoner, but she was not unhappy. She liked Jamestown because she learned new things every day. Chapter 5. Pocahontas Falls in Love. After many months, Pocahontas met John Rolfe. He was a young tobacco farmer. John Rolfe was very kind to her. She loved him and he loved her. They were very happy together. John Rolfe wanted to marry Pocahontas, but Pocahontas wanted to speak to her father first. One day, Pocahontas and John Rolfe went to visit Powhatan. The great chief was pleased to see his daughter. "Father, this is John Rolfe. I met him in Jamestown. He is a very kind person. I love him and I'm going to marry him." "You are a young woman now, Pocahontas. It is time for you to marry the man you love." Powhatan embraced his daughter and John. "Great chief, I love your daughter, and I want to take care of her," said John Rolfe. In April 1614, Pocahontas married John Rolfe in the Anglican Church. She was the first American Indian to marry a white man. Pocahontas wore a beautiful white dress. She had flowers in her hair. She and John Rolfe laughed and danced on this special day. All the people in Jamestown celebrated the marriage. There were great festivities with music and dancing. Nantiquas and many other Indians came to celebrate. At the wedding meal there were white men and Indians. They were all good friends. They sat around a long table. There were all types of good food to eat. Pocahontas's marriage brought peace to the Virginia colony. The colony began to grow. Soon after their marriage, Pocahontas and John went to London. Pocahontas was surprised to see many new things in England. In London, she wore beautiful English clothes. Everyone wanted to meet her. She met the most important people of London. She even met King James I. Everyone loved the Indian princess. In London, Pocahontas met John Smith again after many years. This was a wonderful surprise. They talked about their adventures in Jamestown. Pocahontas and John Rolfe had a son. They were very happy. They called him Thomas. After Thomas's birth, Pocahontas became very ill. She died in England in 1617 at the age of 21. This was a tragic event. Many people mourned her. They remembered the courageous Indian princess. Young Thomas was educated in Britain by his uncle Henry Rolfe. John Rolfe was heartbroken. He didn't want to live in Britain. He returned to Virginia to grow tobacco. He became an important tobacco farmer. He had a very big tobacco plantation. When Thomas Rolfe was an adult, he left Britain. He went to America to visit his mother's land. He met his mother's tribe. He liked the New World and remained there. In 1788, the Virginia colony became a state of the United States. There are still descendants of Thomas Rolfe, Pocahontas's son, in Virginia today. Chapter 1: A Winter Day and a Beautiful Shop. It was a cold winter afternoon. Rosemary Fell was a young, rich woman. She lived in London. She was not very beautiful, but she was smart, well-dressed, and modern. She loved books, art, and shopping. That day she visited a small antique shop on Curzon Street. It was her favourite shop. The shopkeeper liked her very much. He always smiled when she came. He showed her a small box. It was blue with flowers and gold on it. Rosemary loved it. "It's charming," she said. "It's 28 guineas, madam," said the shopkeeper. Rosemary wanted to buy the box, but she didn't decide yet. She left the shop and stepped outside. It was raining and the street was dark. People walked quickly under their umbrellas. Suddenly a voice spoke to her. "Madame, may I speak to you?" a girl said. Rosemary saw a thin, tired girl. Her hands were red from the cold. Her clothes were old and wet. "Would you let me have the price of a cup of tea?" the girl asked. "Do you have any money at all?" Rosemary asked. "No, madam." Rosemary thought this moment was exciting. She had read stories like this. She decided to do something kind. "Come with me," she said. "Come home and have tea." The girl looked afraid. "You're not taking me to the police?" she asked. "No, no," said Rosemary. "Just tea. Please come." They got into Rosemary's car. Tea at home, Rosemary. And the girl arrived at Rosemary's big house. The house was warm and beautiful. A servant opened the door. Rosemary smiled. "Come upstairs," she said kindly. "You can get warm." The girl looked afraid but followed. Rosemary took her to her bedroom. There was a fire, gold cushions, and soft rugs. The girl stood near the door, quiet and nervous. "Sit here," said Rosemary. "You look cold. Sit by the fire." I don't know," said the girl. "Please," said Rosemary. "Don't be afraid." She helped the girl take off her wet coat and hat. The girl looked very weak. She held the chair and sat down slowly. "I'm sorry, madam," she whispered. "I feel sick. I think I will faint." Rosemary was shocked. She called the maid. "Tea and some brandy," she said quickly. But the girl cried, "No brandy, madam. I never drink brandy. I only want a cup of tea." Rosemary felt something strange in her heart. She gave the girl her own lace handkerchief. "Don't cry," she said softly. "Please don't cry." The girl covered her face and cried harder. "I can't live like this," she said. "I can't do it anymore. I will do something bad to myself." Rosemary held her and spoke kindly. "Don't say that. You met me today for a reason. We'll have tea. You can tell me everything." I'll help you." Finally, the girl stopped crying. She looked tired but calm. Rosemary gave her tea, sandwiches, and sweets. She didn't eat anything herself. She only watched the girl feeling something new inside, both strong and strange. Chapter 3. A Visitor and a Secret Thought. The two women sat by the fire. The girl ate and drank. She started to feel better. Rosemary watched her and felt proud. She believed she had done something good. Then the door opened. It was Rosemary's husband, Philip. "Rosemary, may I come in?" he asked. "Of course," she said. "This is my friend, Miss—" The girl stood up slowly. She looked tired but calm. She said, "Smith, madam." "Smith," Rosemary repeated. Philip looked at the girl's coat and hat on the floor. He looked at the girl carefully. "It's a beastly afternoon," he said. "Vile weather." He smiled at the girl. Then he looked at Rosemary and asked, "Can I speak to you in the library?" Rosemary said, "Of course," and followed him. In the library, Philip said, "Who is she? What's going on?" Rosemary laughed. "I picked her up in the street. She asked for a cup of tea. I brought her home. Isn't it exciting?" "But what are you going to do with her?" Philip asked. "I don't know yet. I want to help her," Rosemary answered. Philip was quiet. Then he said, "But she's very pretty." Rosemary was surprised. She blushed. "Pretty? Do you think so? I hadn't thought about it." Philip lit a match and said, "She's very lovely. You should know that." Suddenly, Rosemary's heart felt heavy. She returned to her room without a word. She looked at the girl. The girl really was beautiful. Her skin, her eyes, her face, all soft and sweet. Rosemary walked to her desk. She opened a drawer. She took out some money. She gave the girl a few pound notes. "Here, I think it's better if you go now," she said gently. Chapter 4. The Real Question. After giving the girl the money, Rosemary did not say much. The girl took the money, said thank you, and left the house quietly. She never asked for more. She didn't cry again. Rosemary watched her leave. She didn't feel happy anymore. She didn't feel proud. She walked slowly to her bedroom. She sat at her table. She opened a mirror and looked at her face. She is pretty, Rosemary thought. She really is. Later, Rosemary walked back to the library. Philip was reading a newspaper. She leaned against the door and said, "Miss Smith won't dine with us tonight." "Oh," said Philip. "What happened?" "She wanted to go. I gave her a little money," said Rosemary. She sat on his knee. She had just done her hair. She wore pearls. Her eyes were dark and lovely. She touched Philip's face softly. "Do you like me?" she asked. Her voice was soft and sweet. She looked at him with shining eyes. "I like you awfully," said Philip. He smiled and held her. "Kiss me," Rosemary whispered. They kissed. But Rosemary had something else to say. She smiled and said dreamily, "I saw a lovely little box today. It cost 28 guineas. May I have it?" Philip laughed. "You may, little wasteful one." But Rosemary didn't smile. She put her head on Philip's chest and whispered, "Philip, am I pretty?"